Things need to change, and change fast. In their recent report on how the world's most improved school systems keep getting better, McKinsey noted that the impetus to start school system reforms resulted from one of three things: the outcome of a political or economic crisis, the impact of a high-profile critical report on the system's performance, or the energy and input of a new political or strategic leader. Well, at least two of those three factors apply to Wales. Never waste a crisis. We speak a lot about the rights of children and young people in the National Assembly for Wales. Children and young people have a right to expect high-quality teaching and that their schools are delivering high standards. Change will require collective action. As John Cotter, Professor of Leadership at Harvard Business School, puts it in his book Leading Change, a strong guiding coalition is always needed for change to take place. Professor Michael Fulham talks of the need for collective capacity to change. Collective capacity, he says, is what happens when groups get better: school cultures, district cultures, and government cultures. So we look to work with leaders across the education system in Wales to ensure that we change for success. To start with, we will create some clear targets. We should aim to be in the top 20 of school systems measured in the PISA scores in 2015. In other words, the PISA scores after next. But we will be aiming for improvements in 2012 over the 2009 results. This is not an alternative to improving GCSE results. We need to increase performance, including performance in English, Welsh, and maths, and reduce variation across the system. Second, we need to recognise the scale of the challenge. Ours is not a good system aiming to become great. Ours is a fair system aiming to become good. And that requires honesty and clarity from all involved. For systems moving from fair to good, there has to be a significant amount of central input to ensure standards are being upheld. School systems moving from good to great can afford to free up their systems. We are not in that state, so we are going to have more direct central input. We know what works. We also know that we have best practice within Wales. It is time that best practice was shared and applied across the whole of Wales. I'm not seeking a strategic shift. I do not plan to publish a new education strategy. Indeed, I hope to leave office without having published any education strategy. Instead, I want to see world-class best practice applied across Wales. So here are the actions we are going to take immediately. First, performance will be our driver. We've reorganised our own department to ensure a clearer focus on educational performance and outcomes, with Chris Tweedale now responsible for every area that affects the classroom. To support the drive to improve performance, we will be creating a standards unit to lead performance and provide challenge on a national basis. In line with my focus on better implementation, fewer initiatives, and keeping it simple, no new initiatives will be approved unless they add value to our demand for higher performance. Resources will be reprioritised accordingly. Thirdly, the foundation phase, which is fully rolled out from this September and which introduces children to learning through doing, will not be allowed to lead to a reduction in literacy. The baseline assessment will provide us with the floor and will be supported year on year with continuous assessment. We will address variability in teaching practice. Fourthly, as part of our national literacy plan, we will introduce a national reading test which will be consistent across Wales and will be designed to ensure that far fewer pupils are falling behind their designated reading age. The plan will also include a focus on 7 to 11-year-olds and catch-up reading programmes, as well as stretching those pupils at the highest abilities. By the 2012 to 13 academic year, we will have developed similar plans for numeracy. Six, we will expect all local authorities to ensure that Key Stage 2 teacher assessments are robust and consistent with the nationally defined standards, especially in respect of literacy. I'm pleased that the Association of Directors of Education in Wales, ADU, has signed up to this. Seventh, we will look to integrate PISA assessments into school assessment at 15. We will ask all schools to work with their Year 8 and 9 students who will face PISA next time and work with them on their skills. Eighth, we will ensure that all teachers and head teachers have appropriate levels of literacy and numeracy as part of their professional accreditation. Ninth, I've asked officials to examine whether we can revise initial teacher training so that it becomes a 2-year master's course with more classroom practice so that teachers are familiar with advanced teaching skills. They will examine whether this can become the standard entry qualification for teaching in Wales. There will be a statutory requirement on all qualifying teachers to be trained in literacy and numeracy. All new ITT entrants will have been required to pass literacy and numeracy skills tests on entry and exit. 1 inset day per year will be focused on literacy and numeracy assessment for all teachers. 10th, we will introduce a national system for the grading of schools, which will be operated by all local authorities or consortia. I am pleased that the Association of Directors of Education in Wales has confirmed that all consortia will operate this model. All schools will be graded annually. Schools will be expected to reach certain floor targets, an absolute standard below which no school in Wales will fall, and will also be expected to operate progress targets for all pupils, so that all students make 1 year of educational progress each calendar year. All schools will produce an annual public profile containing performance information to a common format. They will also be expected in a school development plan endorsed by their governors to set out how they will reach improved standards of educational performance based on aspirational targets we will set for the education system in Wales. Again, ADU has signed up to this. We will work with the Directors of Education in Wales on strengthening local authority consortia school intervention powers. 11th point is in relation to Estin's new common inspection framework. This is beginning to bite. Where a school is found by Estin to be failing, and I regard the situation as irredeemable, I will close it. 12th, in our education measure, we are taking powers to allow local authorities to federate boards of governors of schools. I expect to see more federations of schools operating under single head teachers. 13th, also in the education measure, we are introducing statutory training for governors and effective clerking. 14th point relates to data. Use of data is critical to performance. From next year, no school will pass an Estin inspection unless it can demonstrate that its governing body has discussed the family of schools data and other relevant performance data and has set in place actions to improve its position. I'll be writing to all chairs of governors to make this clear. 15th point, we will change the performance management provisions for head teacher performance management and teacher performance management to enable closer monitoring of their approach to raising standards, engaging local authorities and consortia in this process. 16, we will review teacher induction alongside our review of the GTCW, following the framework powers we expect to receive as a result of UK legislation. Development and support for the 3 years of teaching will focus on firm foundations for the teaching of literacy and numeracy. All NQTs will have to meet practicing teacher standards. 17, CPD will in future be focused on system-wide needs, including literacy and numeracy, linked to the 3 priorities of the school effectiveness framework and the application of the skills framework. We will expect all schools to demonstrate they have discussed the skills framework and the support materials available during their inset days. CPD opportunities will include the opportunity to gain the master's qualification. 18, we will produce statutory guidance for school improvement, which sets out the best practice currently available in Wales and elsewhere, which we will expect schools to implement through the school effectiveness framework. This will include kite-marked teaching strategies designed to make our best our standard. Professional learning communities will focus on literacy, numeracy, and tackling disadvantage. We will expect a strong focus on high reliability teaching practices, and I want to see a new focus on the content of teaching within the school effectiveness framework. Provision of effective practice is not prescription. It is about ensuring that we have the best skilled teaching workforce continuously developing capacity. 19, we will expect local authorities to participate in consortia arrangements, including shared consortium services, or suffer financial penalties, including the withdrawal of Better Schools funding. The consortia will identify system leaders who will support and challenge the professional learning communities, which will have a focus on literacy and numeracy. Final point is behaviour. If there is poor behaviour in the classroom, children cannot learn. I've already announced some extensions to teachers' powers last autumn in respect of the use of force by school staff, as well as schools' ability to discipline pupils and impose sanctions. I feel progress on our behaving and attending action plan is not going at the pace I want to see. It is now time to revitalise and refocus activity in this area. The next phase will concentrate on outcomes and improving behaviour to raise standards. All newly qualified teachers will undertake development modules in behaviour management as part of their induction process. It is not acceptable that Wales has had for years the worst school attendance levels in the UK. If attendance in Wales was at the level for England, our young people would effectively, on average, have an additional 8 weeks of learning across their school career, 2/3 of a term. Again, there is excellent practice in Wales, but shocking variation between and within schools and local authorities. We will not allow schools to let young people drift away from learning. Attendance data will be rigorously interrogated as a key element of the new annual public profile for schools going forward. I expect zero tolerance of truancy. This is a clear programme to address the issues we face. It is a programme to transform system leadership, which addresses issues of personalised learning, professional practice, intelligent accountability, and collaboration and best practice. Some of the tasks are for the government, some for local authorities and consortia, but many are for schools. We will draw on the best advice available to us. I want to thank Professor David Hopkins, Professor Alma Harris, Dr. Tim Williams, and Professor David Reynolds for their ideas and advice. There is a formidable agenda ahead of us in respect of schools alone. There will, in future, be no hiding place for poor performance. In my department, performance will drive every aspect of what we are doing. There will be a single focus. We will raise standards. We will provide opportunities for all to learn to the best of their ability. Our young people deserve better, and I believe that we can deliver. Thank you for listening.